Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first of our Crash Responder Safety Week All States Planning webinars. My name is Kevin Vita, and I'll be helping facilitate today's webinar. This webinar is sponsored by the Federal Highway Administration and hosted by the National Operations Center of Excellence, also known as NOCO. As a quick reminder, NOCO offers a variety of resources to support the transportation systems management and operations community. I'll quickly cover a few logistics for today's webinar. All of the attendees are in listen-only mode by default, but we'd like you to stay engaged by using the chat box for identifying your name, title, and the agency you represent. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation, so we encourage you to ask any questions you have during the presentations in the Q&A pod as they come to your mind at any time. The questions will be read out loud one at a time by the moderator, and our presenters will answer each question. At the conclusion of the presentations, there will also be a roll call portion where we will request your participation. If you would like to speak when your name is called, you can virtually raise your hand in the Zoom platform, and we will unmute you to allow you to provide your state's update. I would also like to state that this webinar is being recorded, and the recording and slide deck will be available on the NOCO website within a few days. That's all I have, and with that, I'll hand it over to our Master of Ceremonies for today, Jim Ostrich.
Thank you so much, Kevin, and many thanks for all you do and the National Operations Center of Excellence supporting us for CRSW as well as our monthly Talking Tim webinar. You guys do a phenomenal job, Kevin. Next slide. So this is our disclaimer. U.S. government does not endorse any company or product, and the presenter's views and opinions do not reflect the U.S. DOT or its policies. Next slide. So the Crash Responder Safety Week All-State Planning webinar is the first, well, this is the first of a three-part series or set of webinars to facilitate state, regional, local sharing of strategies and successes for CRSW. And note that today we will set the context for, or of, I should say, Crash Responder Safety Week and discuss this year's tagline or theme. We're pleased to have two CRSW champions who will speak about unique efforts they've undertaken to bring awareness to traffic incident management and to the broader public. Next slide. So who's this webinar for? It's directed to communications and public information officers from all the different organizations, not just transportation. Obviously, we have police, fire, rescue, towing, recovery, EMS, and public works, and law enforcement participants. And we welcome all of you to participate if this is your first time with us. And we're excited that we're actually in our 10-year anniversary, which I'll hit on here in a minute or two. Next slide. So a little history. This year, CRSW falls on the week of November 17th through the 21st. It was CRSW was initiated back in 2016, and under a different, actually we transitioned to the new branding, if you will. And as I said, this is the 10th year for CRSW, a very big deal. And during this week, we spotlight what every road user should do when approaching roadway incidents. Well, you can read it for yourself. This is critically important to our community, to all our lives. We all want to get home as well. But in particular, our responders that are out there working crashes and all kinds of other traffic incidents is of utmost importance. And it's underscored under a project that we have called the Everyday Counts Next Generation Project, Next Gen TIM Technologies for Saving Lives. Next slide. So, CRSW actions for every state and local agency. I want to underscore that this is not just transportation. These are all the stakeholders of response, emergency response agencies, public works. And these are just some of the things that you as state leaders and champions, whether you're in your public affairs, public relations departments, acting as PIOs or CIOs, regardless, you can make a difference and you can take on any one of these initiatives or activities. And there are many more, to be honest with you, that we might hear later on in the webinar when we do a brief roll call, if you will, to all the states that are participating today. So the QR code that's right here, please take a second and scan that, because it's important what we are also going to discuss, which is the CRSW Ally in Actions, where we want to document all of you that are going to participate in this year's CRSW and know or learn more about what your organization is going to do. So the Ally in Action piece of this webinar is really for us to collaborate with you, and let's do so. Next slide. Here again, CRSW actions for specific response agencies. Number one, transportation, for example, and I'll say this in advance, any of the organizations, whether it's public safety, public works, or transportation, even motor vehicles, should work with your highway safety offices that reside typically within the transportation department, but HSOs, as they're called. Most of the time, in my experience, when you're trying to coordinate messages, that first bullet on the portable or overhead fixed changeable message signs, messaging regarding move over, driver removal laws, and a whole myriad of other messages that I encourage you to work with your highway safety offices and DOT operations centers. The second bullet there, hosting tours at traffic operations centers or traffic management centers, as they're referred to as well. Safety service patrols, who can distribute materials at rest stops and the like, have also been something that an activity that some states take on. Law enforcement can do the ride-alongs, as you can read for yourself right here, and do mass media events, implement campaigns, enforcement campaigns, to issue warnings or citations for move over violations, and other activities that I'm sure those of you who are in law enforcement can come up with to be a part of this very important life-saving effort. The DMVs, Department of Motor Vehicles, or Department of or Motor Vehicle Administrations, MVAs, also participate. I mentioned rest areas and some of the things that occur at those stations or at those rest areas, with videos, posters and other materials that are a lot of times just available right there at those facilities, that motorists can take advantage of and hopefully get the messaging. Next slide. So proclamations, you can see here the map 2024, as of the end of 2024, we had 22 governor's proclamations, but then there were a number of others that you see here to the right that were either mayoral or other organizations, metropolitan planning organizations, for example, and other associations even can produce proclamations. So we encourage governors, we encourage all of the above. And there is a template that we can share that's part of the materials, along with a whole bunch of other materials. You see Vishali's putting different links in the chat pod for you to take advantage of. But certainly feel free to reach out to my office. And between Vishali and Kelly Claver, who's on with us today as well, contractor support, and Kevin Vita from the NOCO. So let's try to double this. You'll see here on the next slide, we're going to shoot for what, 35 for this year. Next slide. 35 states. No, this slide is the day of the week social media outreach that we do, hashtag CRSW. But as you see here, we have a focused message for each day of the week, self-explanatory. And this is something that all of you can participate again and in whatever fashion you like. And we'll help you get there if there's anything that you need in addition to the materials that are available on the NOCO site for CRSW. Make it a point to go to the Center of Excellence and see what's there already been developed, and materials that are customizable, if you will, for you and your organization to take advantage of. Next slide. So here's where I was going a second ago. I got ahead of myself. As far as performance targets, let's try to hit 35 proclamations. Governor, I say governor, mayoral, doesn't matter. Who knows? Maybe we can, 10-year anniversary, maybe we can get up to 40 or 50 different proclamations. And please, as you're developing those, and especially when they're signed and distributed, advertised, what have you, make sure that FHWA, Office of Operations, the TIM program office, my office, along with Sharon Cuevas, my colleague, who I believe is on with us as well, and our team leader, David Johnson, we'd love to have those products, please, and we make sure to archive them. And of course, Kelly and Vishali, who help us tremendously with the effort. So the Allies in Action sign-up form is something, as I said earlier, that we're doing nowadays every year, and we want to get 100 plus, if not more, of those as well. So you'll have, I believe, a link that you'll see here in a few minutes where you'll be able to access the form and give us the information we're looking for, as far as your organization narrative and whatnot, what exactly you are planning to do for CRSW. Wouldn't it be awesome to get over 1 million social media outreach? That we could do. I'm pretty sure We've gotten close in the past, but again, don't forget 10-year anniversary. And today we're going to talk a little bit about PSAs, public safety announcements by radio stations. One of our presenters today, which is just very cool and very knowledgeable, experienced professional in the radio industry, is going to present and share what they're going to do to promote CRSW. Next slide. Okay, so here we are. Ideas for the 2025 tagline or theme. So here you see to the left, the 4 that have been suggested thus far. To the right are 7, I believe. Yeah, 7 themes or taglines from previous years. But tell us in the chat pod, tell us what 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 you prefer, if you know of a new one. But we do have a poll question that popped up, perfect timing, where we want to hear from you what you think of these 4 here to the left. We'll give you a few seconds to do that, and then we'll show the results. Again, feel free, though, if there's a different one that you're thinking of, feel free to put it in the chat pod. So how many, let's see, there's 102 participants on the webinar today, which we thank you very much, all of you, for taking the time to participate. You're the ones that make this a success. So we thank you dearly. Okay. And we show results in another. Okay. Interesting. The first one, 18%, drive with care, first responders are everywhere. Keep responders safe while they work to keep you safe, 23%. And so far, at least right now, the winner seems to be safety starts with you, slow down, move over, stay alert at 53% again. And then at 5%, a decade of advancing responder safety. That third one is an important, or a very good one, I should say. Our dear friend from the Eastern Transportation Coalition, Cheryl Bradley, had made the point on last month's leadership meeting that we had, the National Committee for CRSW, which our executives, Cheryl had expressed interest in that because it has an action. It's actionable, if you will. And we agree with that as well. So anyway, we're going to close that out and keep moving on here. Next slide. Okay, so here are some of those resources that I mentioned we can make available to you. Starting with the proclamations, governor, state, local, regional proclamations, the messaging, changeable message, sign strategies, press releases, demonstration events, testimonials, you name it. CRSW theme videos, which is something we do as well. Even here at Federal Highway, we through our public affairs office, we work with our leaders here, executive leaders, to develop videos. And then news coverage, leveraging ride-along facility tours, I think were mentioned earlier, and the CRSW social media outreach toolkit, which right now has 2024 material but will be updated here next month. So look for that. And in the meantime, don't be bashful. Feel free to send me an email, Vishali, copy Kelly, and we're here to help. But everything for CRSW is available on the website for the National Operations Center of Excellence. Next slide. So with that, I am going to, well, I have the pleasure and the honor of introducing Tina Register. Tina is with the Maryland Department of Transportation. She has been the Marketing and Customer Relations Manager for Maryland State Highway Administration for the last 6 years and works with their Office of Communications. Tina has worked in nonprofit and government sector for almost 30 years in various communications and media relations roles. She currently manages Maryland State Highway Administration's SHA's paid and non-paid campaigns and events. She also assists their media relations department as a public information officer during the winter weather months and occurrences, which are always interesting here in the Mid-Atlantic region. So with that, I welcome Tina.
Thank you, Jim. And hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here today and just wanted to share some of the things that we've done in the past and really share an event that we did last year, which is it was an event that was different for us for the first time. So I'm going to say, Kevin, I'm going to say next on this slide, please. So each year, the State Highway Administration in Maryland, we do participate in Crash Responder Safety Week to promote responder and road safety use. So some of the things that we have done, we always submit a governor's proclamation. We hold social media campaigns. We host events, trainings, issue press releases. We hold those press conferences, what Jim was mentioning. We have used the changeable message signs to bring attention to our state's move over law. Next, please. And last year, we want to do something a little bit different, something outside the box. And we met and we started planning, about this time last year. And what can we do something a little bit outside the box? And we know sometimes when our different shops and maintenance folks, they do things out in the community, what's really popular is when they attend those touch a truck events. And we thought, maybe could we do something like that? Maybe touch a crash responder truck. And, we started getting interested in about that. And then we were thinking, you know what, the trucks are great, but what we really wanted to focus on are the actual responders. So that idea kind of morphed into, how about let's do Thank a Safety Responder Day. But, we knew that we needed to have those vehicles on there. And we knew we also needed to have, it couldn't look like our typical, corporate marketing. It needed to be very family friendly, and we needed to have the, make it look like we knew parents needed to say, is this an event that I can bring my child to? So that's what we ended up doing. We had a Thank a Safety Responder Day. And in addition to that, we still continue to secure that governor's proclamation. Very, very important to do, because we know if we secure it and we're able to promote that, the governor's office, they're going to put that out on social media as well. We still continue to schedule the social media and did a nice social media campaign through and to promote it during the event and also throughout that entire week. And we also, that press release as well for the event, as well as in that press release, we could talk about Crash Responder Safety Week. So we did all of those other things that we normally have done, but instead of having that press event, we did the Thank a Safety Responder Day instead, but still invited the media to attend. Next, please. And the goal of this event is we wanted to have a really well-executed community event. We wanted to hold it close to Crash Responder Safety Week so it could really be that kickoff. So we could share these safety messages on social media and also at the event. And the objectives was to raise that awareness about the dangers that our crash responders face when they're responding to those roadway incidents. We wanted to educate the motorist of their responsibilities when they drive past those roadside incidents. We wanted to honor the crash responders who risk their lives. And then we really wanted to be fun and educational. You know, if parents are going to bring their kids, it has to be fun. Our target audience was motorists with children and also Maryland Department of Transportation employees with kids. Our State Highway Administration alone has 2,000. So our sister agencies. So I think a total was about 9,000 employees. So we wanted to make sure we wanted to reach, the children. So our employees that had children as well as grandchildren. And then we wanted to make sure we were able to measure some of the things. We wanted to, how many media outlets would be attending. And I'd go in a little bit of where we ended up having the event, but we wanted to invite the Baltimore and DC markets to cover the event. We wanted to, first time holding the event, we didn't know, how many children we're going to have. So we put out a number, and that number was to have 100 people in attendance. And at the end of the event, we wanted to see, could the children answer safety questions when asked? And then also, were we going to get positive feedback from the attendees, and including the adults? Because if we're getting positive information, hopefully they're paying attention and they're getting some information from the responders. Next, please. Next, please. So the tactics of the location. Oh, let's see. Can you go back one slide, please? Oh, okay. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is good. We can get right here. So the location. So we decided, where are we going to hold this event? So we wanted to have it at our State Operations Center, the SOC, and that serves as the hub for our Coordinated Highway Action Response Team, known as CHART. And that's our CHART responders. They're the ones that respond to motorists that break down on the side of the road, run out of gas, in crashes. So we wanted to hold it there. So you can see the building, and there's one of our CHART vehicles is parked right outside. So we were going to offer tours inside, which is the photo on the right. So when the families were coming up, they're going to see the CHART vehicle right outside. Our responders going to be there, welcoming the family members and speaking to them. And then they can go inside and they're going to tour, and they're going to see on monitors. They're going to see the roads. The adults are going to see the roads that they travel on. So hopefully make connections. So next time after the event, when they're traveling on some of these roads, they may kind of remember, oh, I remember seeing that road at that. And maybe if they see a crash responder, you see a police officer or one of our CHART vehicles on roadside next time they're traveling, maybe they may move over or slow down when they come in contact with see these vehicles. And then also that governor proclamation that we submitted, we secure that. And we had that proclamation on a stand, and that was as the folks were entering our SOC building, they could stop and they could read the proclamation while they were waiting their turn to enter, because only so many people could enter at a time. So that way they can read a little bit about what Crash Responder Safety Week was all about. Next, please. And how did we promote the event? So we issued that press release. And again, we didn't want, and then that included the flyer. And as I mentioned before, we didn't want to look like our typical corporate state agency. We wanted it to be very kid-friendly. No doubt we wanted parents to know, bring those children along. We set up a Facebook event page. We posted regularly on our social media platforms, and we did use the hashtag Touch a Truck. We wanted to make sure the parents that are searching for those Touch a Truck events, and my children are grown, but I have grandchildren, and I know how much they love those type of events. So we wanted to get their attention and know, and they would see the vehicles and on the flyers, and to attract their attention. We also run the next door pages in the area where we were hosting the event. We created banners on our homepage of our website. We sent out emails from our administrator to all of our employees, from the secretary of the transportation. So all 9,000 employees would be welcome to attend. In our employee newsletter, we also created, we ran messages on the variable message sign outside our complex the week of the event. So people in the neighborhoods. We also reached out to local schools and communities. There happened to be a Girl Scout, Boy Scout store right near our complex where parents can go and get uniforms and Scout leaders could get badges. We made sure they were aware of it and had flyers made. And also the participating agencies, we gave them the graphics and information and also asked them to share on social media, just so to continue to get that message out and to have a further reach. Next, please. And then in addition to, I mentioned the chart patrol vehicles and our sister agencies, they're also their patrol vehicles. We invited the representatives from the fire and rescue and police in the local community. So we wanted to make sure, and it happened to be, it was in Anne Arundel County for those that are in the area. So we want to make sure that the communities that were local to our state operations center, that we were reaching their local fire and police departments. So it really to help make that connection. And we even had, if you can see in the photo, we had our Maryland State Police helicopter that makes rescues on the highways when there are really serious crashes, which happened to really be a hit. Logistically, it was very difficult because we needed to make sure we had a large space for that helicopter. And for all of the responders, the police and the helicopter, as well as ambulance and fire, helicopter left once and they weren't able to return, but the fire and ambulance, they made several calls where they had to leave. So logistically, we had to make sure they were on, and we knew they may had to leave, that we had to put them on the end facing outward, but they actually came back, and it was really it was exciting to know that even after they made they went out and made their runs, they came back to our event. So we had them placed strategically around. But we also couldn't make it too far apart because it was in November. We knew it was going to be chilly and cold. Fortunately, we had a mild November day, so the parents and children didn't have to walk too far. But all the children got to, either sit on the vehicles, go inside the vehicles, and talk to all the responders. Next, please. And we provided the responders with messaging, and we encouraged them to share information about their own roadside emergency experiences. And of course, we wanted it to be age appropriate. So, if it was a young child, we wanted to make sure, we didn't want it to be, gruesome, but we also wanted to make sure they could share those experiences. And you could see in some of the photos, they really captured not only the children's attention, but also the parents and grandparents. And it was a mixture of parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles actually came as well. And we also encouraged the responders to bring props and equipment to make the event interactive. We had, police were bringing plastic badges, fire were bringing plastic helmets to give out, in addition to props that they were sharing and showing with those in attendance. Next, please. And to make it so, again, they were learning. We provided each child when they arrived an activity sheet, and they were to collect stickers from the responders to earn a junior crash responder certificate when they were filled. So what we did is we gave all of the responders, they had little containers full of stickers. So all of the police had police stickers in containers, and the helicopter, they had helicopter stickers. So as the responders were talking to the kids and explaining what they did, and the kids were interacting with them before they would leave their their area, they would give us, the children, a sticker or put it on their sheet or give them a sticker. And then when the children went to each station and completed and filled their activity sheet, they would come back to us and we would give them that blue there. It was their junior crash responder certificate. And when they came back to us, and it was very informal, we'd say, what did you like best? And they would tell us what they liked best. And we would ask them, what they liked most. And they were asking us a lot of great questions. And then in addition, we also had the kids, if they wanted to, they could make thank you cards to give to the first responders. And the first responders were very touched by that. Next, please. And then also how did we do when we did some measuring? One of the things I did, I know we're getting close to the time, but I did want to let you know we had it on a Saturday. So it was a Saturday before Crash Responder Safety Week. And we know that can be a difficult time to get media, especially nowadays. Media can be very short. So we hoped we could get one media outlet there, and we had two. And what I wanted to share with, so our media person, director, prior to the event, when he pitched it, he worked with one of the local TV stations, and he asked them, if they would come out, take some footage, and they did. And what they ended up doing, they used that footage, and they the station manager ended up doing an editorial and used some footage and talked about Crash Responder Safety Week, and ran an editorial about the importance of Crash Responder Safety Week, which was really great, which that ran multiple times, in addition to some additional coverage from another news station. And in addition to having 100 people, which we'd hoped, we had over 350 people in attendance. And then we got some really great feedback. People were asking as they were leaving, are you doing it again? And we're hoping this year, we're going to be meeting shortly to start planning. And we're thinking about expanding and maybe doing more than one event, actually in a different location. So I think that concludes my portion. So I know I'm going to run out of time, and I know someone else is going to be speaking next. So back to you, Jim.
Awesome. Thanks, Tina. That was tremendous. I especially like your engagement to educate our youth, young teenagers, and even the adults. But I've been to a number of these events at DOTs, Touch a Truck, and just different exhibits and demonstrations from our public safety, DOT, and public works communities. And they are very well attended. And I just recommend those. So kudos to Maryland DOT, Maryland SHA, once again for all you do. So continue to put questions in the chat pod. We're gonna now, I'm going to introduce our next presenter, which is Sean Sullivan. Sean is a strategic account manager for Total Traffic and Weather Network, a division of iHeartMedia with access to over 2,200 plus iHeart Media and affiliate radio stations, reaching 185 million adults 18 and above every month across 200 plus markets in the United States. Sean and the Total Traffic Weather Network are a great friend to CRSW, and we will be helping with the focus. They will be helping with the focus this year to leverage public safety announcements. And with that, I welcome you, Sean, and over to you.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you all for inviting me today to talk about iHeartMedia and specifically the Total Traffic and Weather Network and how we can get your message out for you on radio, broadcast radio, for Crash Responder Safety Week. I am located in the DC, Maryland area, and I know what traffic is all about. Next slide, please, Kevin. Broadcast radio is very key in getting out messages for your agencies for this specific event or this week, the CRSW. And like Jim had mentioned in my introduction, our TTWN Mobility Network reaches adults 18 plus 185 million. This is a network of stations run by iHeart Media, and we have contracts with other radio groups across the whole United States to provide them their traffic and weather data or traffic and weather reports. And we'll talk about how it's a couple different elements. But next slide, please. And of course, along with traffic comes weather. I'm in the DC area, as I said, and I'm getting all kinds of alerts today about impending thunderstorms coming in from the west. This happens a lot in the DC area. And of course, because we're mid-Atlantic, we often get ice storms or snowstorms. But weather is very important to our radio listeners, and they need to know what their commute's going to be like if they can make it to their child's practice or pick them up from school. So next slide, please. And the way that TTWN works, it is an adjacency to those reports, to the content. We can reach 90% of any specific demo in any given market. We can also change out the copy or the messaging weekly, daily, depending on weather conditions. We can help you out with that. But we are there to impact consumers when their behavioral decisions are being made. And next slide, Kevin. So how that works is, our advertisers can go local for just the DC area. They can do the whole East Coast, or they could do a national plan if it's an advertiser that wants to get their name out there throughout the whole United States. These obviously run during the day when people are commuting, because our traffic and weather reports are really key to those in-car listeners to the radio stations. It involves three separate items. The first one is a billboard, which identifies the business, or in this case, an agency, for a PSA announcement. And then, of course, the sequence of these three items vary depending on the station or perhaps even the DJ. But it is the billboard, it is the client ad copy or message, and then, of course, the actual report, which are comprised by our local and talent traffic reporters, weather reporters, and even news. We can go on to the next slide, please. This is just a snapshot of where TTWN has sponsorship networks. As you can see on the far right, we have a very large network in the Washington, D.C. area. But even just above that, in Virginia, we have little towns like Fredericksburg, Richmond, Norfolk on the East Coast, Winchester, Roanoke. Going over towards the middle of the slide there, in the Maryland area, we have Baltimore, Hagerstown, Salisbury, Frederick, Maryland. And of course, if you were to go all the way to the right, California, look how many markets we have a network in. Just to give you a little bit of background, there was a company years ago named Metro Networks that they were responsible for compiling traffic and weather reports and working with the radio stations across the whole United States to provide them those reports. And then the sales staff in those radio stations could, of course, sell those reports. But this is just a snapshot of where and how big TTWN is. You can move on to the next slide, please. But I'm here to help you with some ideas on public service announcements. Obviously, radio stations are licensed to operate in the public interest. And we do have availability for PSAs, public service programming, or public service announcements. There, we work with obviously the iHeart stations because my division is owned by iHeart, but we also have access to other radio companies. In particular, I'll give an example. The DC market, we have WTOP, which is the #1 news station in the whole United States. It's owned and operated by Hubbard Broadcasting. We are under contract with them to provide their traffic and weather data or reports. And we can also put some PSAs on there. This is going to benefit for the state departments, motor vehicle, public safety agencies. And then, of course, we can talk about the future if you want to continue on with that messaging outside of the CRSW week. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin, if you would like to play the audio in this slide.
This
This is
report
an
is sponsored
example
by the
of one
Virginia
of the clients.
DMV. Please drive sober or get pulled over.
395 northbound slows from the Beltway to Duke Street. That's where we have the work crews blocking the left lane. Slow again from Boundary Channel across the 14th Street Bridge. In town, 50 is jammed coming out of Chevrolet to merge onto inbound New York Avenue for the crash before South Dakota Avenue. I'm Jamie Witten. That's your traffic up to the minute.
Are you old enough to drink? Then act like it. Don't risk a DUI or worse. Always get a safe ride home. And never drink and drive. Brought to you by the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles. Learn more at actlikeit.org. Don't drink and drive, Virginia.
Weather.
Thank you, Kevin, for playing. Just as you heard, that is an example of a TTWN sponsorship. The Virginia Department of Transportation, or Motor Vehicles, excuse me, is a very large client of mine, and they use TTWN across the whole state in the various markets that I showed earlier on the previous slide, and they want to get that messaging out to our listeners. They believe that the adjacency and the value of being next to traffic and weather reports is very important. Next slide, Kevin. So you heard in that previous audio how there were the opening billboard and then the traffic report and then the client spot. This slide shares with you some example specs. We use 10-second messaging and 15-second messaging in English and or in Spanish. And you would want to make it a smooth, easy read for the anchor, because some of those 10-second spots are actually live read. So as our traffic and weather anchor or reporter is speaking the report or the data, then they will voice the client message afterwards. Next slide, please. These are a 10-second and a 15-second sample script, which can be used for the Crash Responder Safety Week. These can be edited to include your name at the end. But basically, obviously, the previous slide showed the number of syllables available in a 10 and a 15, but we can work with you on any sort of scripts. And as a reminder, you are very welcome to have weather-related scripts or spots available for us to use. And next slide, please. So one of the questions that I think you might have is, well, who are our local radio stations? You listen to them, but you probably don't know the call letters. You may know the frequency, the dial number, but you don't know what is their call letters. So there is a website, radio-locator.com. It's free. It is owned and operated by a company by the name of Theodric Technologies. Thank you, Vishali. Radio Locator is a way for you to either search by your city or zip code. In this case, I know that WTOP is a prominent DC station. So I typed in WTOP as the call letters. It brings up an information page on WTOP, their website, their address, their phone numbers, several other links, how you can listen to it online. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is view the radio signal coverage map. And when you click on that link that I've highlighted there with a red oval, you'll see how big the radio signal reaches outside of where the radio tower is located. Just wanted you all to know that that website is available. Feel free to always reach out to me, and I can help you come up with more information for any specific target area. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to make sure that we will let you know that we will work with you and become an ally in action for CRSW. We would want to work a little bit in advance so that we can see how much inventory is available. These are public service announcements. There are no cost associated with that. But we are here and will help identify radio stations and or markets or areas that are near your state or agency. Let's see, next slide. Oh, by the way, we will record the PSAs for you and help you come up with scripts. That's it for me. Thank you very much for allowing me to attend and talk about Total Traffic Weather Network. And back to you, Jim.
Sean, thank you. This is very cool. I can't thank you enough. I think you hit on the key points here, and I want to make the point as well that of the 100, just under 100 participants that we still have with us right now, they're from all over the country. They're not, most of them, I dare say, are not, even local here to Washington, Maryland, D.C., Virginia. But please take advantage of this and reach out to Sean and make use of this. We need to do more and more over the airwaves, obviously social media, all of it matters and is a big deal when we're trying to educate the public about the Crash Responder Safety Week, the dangers of responders, the dangers that motorists are faced with out on our nation's roadways, whether on an interstate or local arterials and rural roads, etc. So big thanks to Tina and Sean. If there's a question here, Kevin. The gentleman, I believe it's Bo Badgett, that had his hand up now for a while. Can you open his mic and maybe Bo can speak up? Please tell us who you're with, Bo, and ask your question. You're muted. Can you unmute him, Kevin? Or does he have to do it?
Jim, I'm happy to step in until Bo gets in. So I think one question was specifically for the FHWA team. Can mayors of cities have state roads post proclamations for CRSW? And I don't know if you want to answer that or you want me to field that answer.
You go right ahead.
Yeah, so if there's a mayor that you're working with that is able to issue a proclamation, we would encourage that office of the mayor to become a CRSW ally in action, to post that proclamation through that QR code or that link. But if they don't have the bandwidth to do so, you're welcome to do so on their behalf. So you could fill out that form and upload that proclamation from that mayor, that county executive. And, either way works, whichever is easier for that organization. And then there was also a question by Tony Casella, when will the decision be made for the 2025 theme? And that will be announced during the next All States Planning webinar taking place in August. I believe it's August 13th at 3 p.m. And it is the second Wednesday of the month. So that is the answer to that. There are a couple of open questions for Tina as well as for Sean. So I don't know if you want to cover those first and then we can do the hand raising.
Well, being that you know where these questions are,
Sure, happy to ask a couple if you'd
continue
like.
on, Vishali.
Absolutely. So the next question I'm going to bring up is for Tina. There were a couple of questions. So I think the most important is, how did you get all of these agencies to get involved and to say yes? And how did you choose the location? Was it for media accessibility, public accessibility, responder accessibility? And can you duplicate this in Western Maryland or elsewhere? Tina, if you want to get on video, that would be great.
Sure. So good question. So, well, we chose, I'll go for first the location, because we looked at a few different ones, but the idea was we wanted to have folks be able to come to see where it all started. So how it works. So, that is the home of our chart program. And we thought that could help make that connection for our chart program. And if they could see, again, they could see all the roads come inside, take the tour, and just to make that connection and say, oh, I know that road. I travel that road every day. And then we just thought it could just making those connections and that might change behaviors. It may not, but what we have to do what we could try, those simple, making those little bit of connections could maybe change behavior. And then we knew also we needed a place that was large. Well, then we decided who are we going to have? So we knew we wanted to reach out to those local fire and police. And, we reached out, and so receptive, because they know how important it is. And they do attend those touch a truck events, and they say, how the community supports them, and they just knew it's important to get the message out and to make those connections. So they were very receptive about participating. And then when we started looking, we knew we needed to have plenty of space for the vehicles to be able to be spread out safely, because we know it needed to be safe, and we needed to know that we need to have parking for all of the vehicles, and easy access. So we had them come in one way and exit the other. And we had our safety folks at State Highway look at the plan, make sure it made sense. Also, we had to make sure for the helicopter that they were able to land safely. So their folks had to look at it and to make sure there was enough space around them for the safety land. So did I answer all of the questions?
Yeah, and how would you make it happen in Western Maryland?
Well, and this is what we're talking about. So, this was the first time, I think it could definitely be duplicated. So we're going to meet again to determine, do we want to do the same one event? Could we do two, maybe regionally? Could we do multiples? Because I really think now that we've done it, we know some things that we could do differently. Maybe instead of stickers, maybe it's more of a stamper that they do, and stamp instead of doing the stickers. So we think that could be quicker. So maybe it could be more turnkey. So right now we have customer relations managers across the state for State Highway. So we could probably, make bins, and we do all of the, that type of planning. But if they're out in their, Western Maryland, they reach out to their local police and our local fire, and they get them to attend. They just scout out the locations, but we could do the creative of the flyers, the press release, so I think it could be done if in other states. So, and we'd be happy to share what we have with you. So it could be more, I think it can be more turnkey. And each year, you learn from what needs to be improved. And that was one of the things that we learned. Stickers. And I remember cutting all these stickers, hours and hours of cutting stickers. should have bought stampers, and you learn. So I think it definitely can be done.
Excellent. And there's a question for Sean Sullivan in that, what if iHeartRadio is not in my market? How do I proceed? And is there anything in terms of the cost or charges in terms of these public safety announcements? I don't know if you want to cover those. That was multiple questions I combined into one.
Sure, sure. Thank you. So, excuse me. iHeart definitely has a huge footprint across the whole United States. However, there are markets, in particular, I'll give an example, just south of me in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Richmond, Virginia. There are no iHeart stations. However, through TTWN, because we provide those other radio companies their traffic and weather reports, we are under contract to be able to utilize the sponsorship of those reports. When it comes to PSAs for CRSW, there is no cost associated with it. It does all depend on whether we have available inventory, and we can definitely schedule something for you across the variety of formats in the market. And then the last thing I want to just talk about is towards the end of my slides, there was that radio-locator.com slide that talked about how you can find out exactly what radio stations are within your area. Definitely do a search. If you need me to help you in finding out what are the best stations in the markets, please reach out to me. Happy to help.
Excellent. Any questions that weren't covered, please ask them. I think we've covered all of the audience-based questions. So Jim, turn it back to
Yeah,
you.
thanks. Thanks, Vishali. And I see Mr. Badgett, I guess, logged off. And I know Dr. Harden, James Harden, had his hand up as well, I believe, but no longer does. So I apologize to both of them for not.
No, he actually, he actually said he was accidentally had his hand up. So no question additional to what he already submitted.
Okay.
So we're good.
That happens to the best of us. So
yes.
Anyway, no, thanks, Vishali. And
Absolutely.
let's see.
Next slide.
We're 28 minutes from closure, correct?
Yeah, we try to finish by 4:15, 4 to 4:15, but we do
Well,
have a few more things to cover.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yes,
So I just want to thank Tina and Sean for sharing and their great presentations and information that I'm sure is helpful to our audience. And we'll hopefully continue to collaborate with both of them moving forward. I'm going to go right into the roll call, Vishali.
sounds great.
So the next slide, I believe, is all the states. And this is going to be quick. I know there's some of you that will report. I'm going to do this in clusters, if you will. I'm not going to go state by state. So Alabama to Iowa. Does anybody want to share what their plans are, if any, at this point? So that's Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, DC, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa. Any takers? Anybody want to share what you're planning? Anything new for the 10-year anniversary of CRSW? Okay. I'm going to move then to the second group. Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan. Obviously, we know what Maryland's doing. And I saw Dawn from Michigan. Dawn, do you want to chime in? Anything? Okay, if not, Tony Casella, I heard Vishali mention Tony from Minnesota. Okay, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico. Anything to share from any of you?
And it
Okay,
looks like Kevin Maxwell from Nevada said they are gearing up and hoping to be ready to share in August. So that sounds great.
okay.
And other states, if you're on the call and not quite ready today, but want to share in August, do text like Kevin has done in the chat so that we'll know and connect with you for next webinar.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So next group is New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington State, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Anyone from any state, would you like to share thoughts? You have a question? I see Nadine Olson raised her hand. I don't know if that's by error or can you see if Nadine Olson wrote anything in the chat pod, Vishali?
I'm going to go ahead and try to unmute Nadine just a second. Kevin, have you unmuted? There we go. Go for it, Nadine.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to let everyone know that this year we plan to try to expand all the county proclamations to the top or to all 72 counties in Wisconsin. And we also want to expand our mayor proclamations to the top 25 cities by population.
Outstanding. Outstanding, Nadine. And I saw Mike Youngbluth on as well. So you guys do phenomenal work every year. So thanks again, Nadine. Alex Leapley, Major Alex Leapley.
Well, I appreciate the promotion, but
I knew you'd like that, Alex.
yeah,
Captain.
yeah. Hey, Utah's going to do. I know some of the UDOT guys from Utah DOT are on, but we work in partnership with them. We'll be doing it again this year. We do media blitzes and press conferences and displays for CRSW. And we'll be doing another governor's proclamation again this year. Most years we try and focus on the 4-hour, what used to be the Sharp 2 training on the Wednesday for responder training day, and we'll do that again this year, hopefully with either a train the trainer course or just regular 4-hour course or both in various locations around the state. So anyway.
Very good. Great to hear your voice, Alex. Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's see. Anyone else? Angela, I'm shocked that you haven't. Well, let me go first to Adam Perez. Can you unmute? There you go. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, so Tennessee here. We've been getting a governor's proclamation for the last several years. We'll go for that again. I like the idea of getting the announcements out over the radio. So we'll work with our CRO office and see if we can get that out there. But, we're early on in our plans. I thoroughly enjoyed today's message. It's given us some good ideas, and hopefully we'll be able to report a little bit more as we move along in one of the next webinars.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And, we're under 5 months away, I think 17, 18 weeks. So when you put it in that respect, you know how time flies. So everybody that's here today and the next round, our next webinar. Really got to push the envelope to get, especially the proclamations, et cetera, going. So thanks again, Adam. I started to say that Angela Roper from the great state of Arizona usually speaks up, and she did not today. So kind of throwing her under the bus. Angela, you can yell at me. It's okay. Or just
So
chime in.
Jim, it's amazing in the chat, a lot of great input. Minnesota's Christine Hernandez noted they began to create social media posts already, which is wonderful. Owen Hassan from Missouri said the same PSAs and governor's proclamations, etc. What's even better to hear is that New York has created a subcommittee for the steering group to discuss options in addition to social media and proclamation. And Georgia also has a working group underway. And so he'll have something more by the next webinar. Michigan, of course, Dawn said that Michigan will pursue similar CRSW activities, including the proclamation, media release, PSA. So one thing I'm going to try to plug again is we would love for all of you to become allies in action, because you're already champions for CRSW and doing things for states. So make sure that before the next webinar, if you have a moment, complete that ally in action. And one of the things we hope to do is if you upload your organization's logo, we're going to hopefully present that as a part of the national kickoff webinar. So
Very
all
good.
really good stuff.
Yes, for sure. Anyone
Okay.
else?
Am I unmuted?
You are,
You are,
Angela.
Yay! Yay! Hey, did Dr. Harden, is he on here? He was earlier. Did he give his spiel
No,
on?
he did not. He got mad because I guess I didn't get to him in time, and I think he stepped away. But we love Dr. Harden. He's
Well,
a leader in the emergency medical services world in your state of Arizona, correct?
Yes, and let me tell you, this man has created a spreadsheet that is, I don't know, 2 pages long, and it has every discipline what everybody needs to do. And
Yeah.
it goes through, the DPA, every entity, stakeholder involved. He's got something they can do. Plus what we've already done, previously, like with the Domino's pizzas.
I
They're
was just going to ask
increasing
you.
this year.
Yeah.
It's like even to more stores. I mean, he's done a phenomenal thing with that. And then I think he's trying to work with the firehouse subs also.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what else he's been up to. He wasn't on our meeting yesterday, but we are starting to talk. We are starting. We have been talking about it. So yes, Arizona will definitely be a part. I will still do the proclamation for us, and so we will have that again.
So for
we're gonna
those
try
that
and
are
come up with something out of the box. I will tell you, I loved her presentation. Phenomenal. It reminds me of Move Over Day, but it's just like on steroids. So I loved it. I loved it. So fantastic job for her. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
So, Angela, to what Angela spoke to, over the last 2 years in Arizona, they have had little Crash Responder Safety Week flyers stuck to pizza boxes for a major pizza delivery chain, so that anytime a pizza is ordered and delivered, they get the delivery with a flyer that says Crash Responder Safety Week. So to have multiple restaurant venues promoting Crash Responder Safety Week is incredible. And if you want to learn more about how they made it happen, shoot out a quick question or message to Jim, and we'll connect you with the man, the legend, the myth, who has done some really creative things for Crash Responder Safety Week. So thank you, Angela.
You bet.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Harden's one of a kind. He's a great one to have on your team, but you got to limit his emails. I'll just say that.
Okay. Anybody else here? We're almost at half past the
Yeah,
hour.
we're about out of time. So if we want to close, this would be the time to do it. We have one more ask, I think.
Do we have
So
another
next
question in the
slide.
box? Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
This is upcoming, as you said earlier, Vishali. The
Mhm.
next All States Planning, August 13th. Please join us. And you see there, we're going to have Christopher Flores, social media strategist from Wisconsin DOT. And then our next one in September 10th. And then the big day for CRSW week, the kickoff webinar. So please do join us, and please keep doing great things. All of you are leaders and champions, and we can't do it without you. And boy, on behalf of Federal Highway, US DOT, Tim Program Office, Sharon Cuevas, who's my colleague that's still on, and Dave Johnson, our team leader, Vishali Shah, Kelly Claver, and of course the National Operations Center of Excellence, Kevin Vida, and the executive director. I noticed Nicholas Ramphos was on with us today, the executive director of the NOCO. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.